at the Shoe in Columbus, Ohio for NCAA Lacrosse quarterfinal action. Game one of our doubleheader today. Cornell out of the Ivy looking to advance the championship weekend for the first time since 2013. Delaware, meanwhile, out of the Colonial looking to get there for the first time since 2007. Let's take a look at the brackets. A good day for the state of New Jersey yesterday. Both Princeton and Rutgers advanced. They await the winners of our two games today to find out who their opponents will be next weekend in East Hartford, Connecticut. Alongside Ryan Boyle, I'm Chris Cotter. Kind of a renaissance here, if you will, for both of these conferences. The Ivy back at it, strong showing in the NCAA tournament. And for the Colonial, for Delaware, if they can get back to championship weekend, signals big things for the Blue Hens.
Yeah, and for the Blue Hens, they are led by Ben DeLuca. When you watch these two teams on tape, a lot of similarities, and that's because of Ben DeLuca's time at Cornell. 17 years as a player and a coach. This will be the first time as the head coach of Delaware he'll be facing his alma mater.
Yeah, no question about it. You see his record as head coach at Delaware. Took him to the quarterfinals in 2013. And then as an assistant at Duke, won a national championship under Dino's staff, and he's done good things ever since.
Yeah, he really credits John Danowski's mentorship during his time there. He then goes up to Harvard, leads them to some fantastic success. And when he took over this Delaware program, the lacrosse world was on notice. He was going to awaken a sleeping giant.
Right. Katie George is the third member of our crew. She's standing by on the field right now with Coach DeLuca.
Thanks, Chris. Coach DeLuca, you know your opponent well. What are the keys to success for your team today?
Staying focused and executing the game plan for 60-plus minutes.
What was your final message in that huddle just now?
Be yourselves. Be yourselves. Be confident. Play Delaware lacrosse. I think we're ready for this game.
Best of luck.
Thanks so much.
On the other side, Connor Busek, coaching Cornell, played for Coach DeLuca when he was the head coach at Cornell, and Busek was an All-American midfielder, spent a couple of years there, and he was on that midfield unit with Rob Pennell at attack when Cornell last made a trip to championship weekend. They have a heck of an attack unit this year. It's led by C.J. Kurst.
Yeah, C.J. Kurst absolutely exploded in the first round against Ohio State. 7 goals. This attack unit complements each other so well. You got Long behind the cage, and Piatelli actually leads the team in points. So very dynamic unit, but Kurst is really the guy, the playmaker that makes it all work.
Yeah, and things will not be easy for Kurst and his fellow attackmen as Owen Grant will be D'ing him up. And this kid, when you talk to Coach DeLuca about him, he said he's the closest thing he's seen to a guy, like Brody Merrill in the college game. And that's huge praise for that type of a player.
Can score in transition, can lock you down, is a vacuum on ground balls, and 33 caused turnovers on the year. He does a little bit of everything.
Delaware, I mentioned, coming out of the Colonial. They were Colonial champs in the regular season last year, and this year coming in, they were able to win the tournament and get that automatic bid, and they played in the play-in game. Let's not forget, this is a Delaware team that had to beat Robert Morris, and they hammered them in the opening round 20-8, and then what lie ahead of them? The number 2 team in this tournament in Georgetown.
Yeah, quick turnaround there. Dramatic comeback win to punch their ticket for today.
Cornell, of course, at home last weekend, dispatching of Ohio State, a game in which they got down 4-0 in the first quarter before coming back and getting the win. We are underway. Face-off won by Cornell. Big Red, first offensive possession of the day. Here's Kurst, number 15. Watch him. As Rhino said, 7 goals in that win last weekend against Ohio State. Matt Licciardi had an unbelievable scoop pass to assist Kurst in one of those goals last weekend in that first midfield unit along with Kelleher. Kelleher is one of those run downhill big midfielders that complements a player like Licciardi. Kurst got his hands free but missed the target. Mentioned how Cornell was down 4-0 to Ohio State last weekend. They have had a really difficult time in starts all year long. Really have not gotten out of the gate quickly. They've gotten behind in so many of their games, and they've had to come from behind, which is what they've been able to do. But you're playing with fire in the NCAA tournament if you keep wanting to do that. And Piatelli, the nation's leading goal scorer, puts the Big Red up early.
Off the feed from Long behind the cage. They use a pick to get a short stick on Long. And you can see him operating from behind the cage, and Piatelli just gets lost inside. Not a lot of crazy action there. It just looked like they were so concerned with Long on the short stick. Lack of communication behind the play leads Piatelli all by his lonesome right on the doorstep.
And just as I was talking about the difficult starts all season long for Cornell, they jump out to a 1-0 lead. Now Angelo Petrakis, Logan Primtage are two combatants at the face-off X. Loose ball. Picked up initially by Cornell and then dislodged. Now our first opportunity to see Delaware on the offensive end today.
And like Cornell, they've got a real complementary attack unit as well. Ward, Kurtz, and Robinson. Ward, that quarterback from behind the cage. Kurtz, the righty finisher, and Robinson, the lefty finisher. So similar approaches for both squads.
It's Clay Miller with the ball in his cross, 22. He can score 26 goals on the year as he inverts. Comes upfield, has some room, can't get it through to the cage though, gets knocked down. No whistle. As Follows comes out of there with it for Cornell. Interesting too defensively. Both these teams have so many similarities, Rhino. How about the fact that they have two studs on defense? Gavin Adler, unanimous first-team All-American for Cornell. We talked about Owen Grant as well. But they also have two players that have come back from injury. Tate Wasson for Delaware and Jack Follows playing just his third game of the year. They've come back from injury, and they've solidified that close defense unit for both these teams.
The similarities run so deep. Obviously, DeLuca, the common thread between the two programs, but just both hard-nosed, grind-it-out type of approaches.
From X, nowhere to go. Michael Long trying to find an angle, can't get it. Now back up top. This is Spencer Wertheim. Switched to his right, but couldn't get a shot. Instead puts it behind the goal. Kirst got his defender hung up as he surveys and looks for cutters. Now he'll roll. No angle. Cut off beautifully. Goes to the other side of the cage and shoots, just misses.
Second low angle attempt by Kirst so far. Would have loved for him to take kind of one more step upfield there.
Shot clock just at 8 now for Cornell, so they're gonna have to make something happen here quickly. It's Long. He's looking to dodge. In front, Kirst behind the back and just misses the cage again. That's gonna run the shot clock down to 1 second. And even if the officials don't grant possession to Delaware here, Cornell will just dump the ball in the corner to set up their ride.
Yeah, I like that they tried something in that last 10 seconds with 8 seconds left in shot clock. Plenty of time.
Delaware bench right there wanted a delay of game as Long, after that 1 second ticked off the clock, threw the ball to the other end of the field, but they won't get it. Matt Kilcarry is in goal today for Delaware. Chase Erlin for Cornell. Second midfield unit now on for the Blue Hens. Nick Jessen, Kyle Kavinsky, and Cam Accioni. Here comes Accioni, full head of steam out of the box. Jessen will look to dodge. Slide comes, now back up top. This is J.P. Ward, had the game winner against Georgetown with 8 seconds left to send Delaware into this quarterfinal game. Still plenty of time to shoot, 30 seconds for the Blue Hens. Shot. Erlin on the near side denies him. First save of the game. Possession, though, still with Delaware. Here's Kurtz, one of two Canadians Delaware has on that first attack line. Erlin saw it all the way.
No surprise early. Both of these teams, really their hallmark is at the defensive end of the field. So expect this to be a relatively low-scoring game. Quite the contrast with what we have coming next.
Who knows what we'll see in that one. Virginia and Maryland coming up a half hour following this game, so you're going to want to settle in for a full day of lacrosse. Great speed. Kilcarry on the stop. Kilcarry, an interesting story in goal for Delaware. He was a starter all year last year, and then at the beginning of this year, finally had some competition from Paul Reedy. And actually, about mid-season, Coach DeLuca said Kilcarry wasn't playing well in practice, so Reedy got a little bit of playing time, and since then, Kilcarry's been outstanding, and he's led the Blue Hens to where they are right now, which is on the precipice of championship weekend. Clay Miller. Skip pass over the top. Here's Mark Beta, one of the captains on this team.
Delaware will complete their substitution as Lankaitis carries that left wing, loves to operate from this spot.
Lankaitis working on the shorty. Got a slide.
He had Kurtz on a skip there.
Still has a short stick on him. Tough angle shot, really couldn't get anything on it either. That's an easy save for Early.
And credit Cornell defensively. I don't think any of these opportunities thus far have been quality looks.
Cornell initially gets the clear, keeps possession. Now into the stick of Kirst. His brother Connor, 18 saves in yesterday's win for Rutgers. It would be something else because the winner of this game plays Rutgers. If Cornell were to advance, it would make things a lot easier on the Kirst family, who has to travel all over the country to see all their boys play in various levels of lacrosse, pro, college, youth leagues. They'd be able to go to one spot to see both CJ and Connor in that game next weekend, but a lot of work to do for Big Red still. Wertheim tried to switch to his left. Nothing doing, though. Great job defensively by Kevin McCormick. Long stick midi. Here's Piatelli. Trying to power his way, and defender slipped a little bit, and Piatelli makes him pay. That's 2 for John Piatelli on the day. Connor Busick loves what he's seen so far from his team. No slow start here today. They're up 2-0.
And it's just a great dodge by Piatelli. He's got a one-on-one matchup with Lynch. You can see all the space in front of him. He's gonna go underneath, put on the brakes, roll back. Lynch kind of loses his leverage, and Piatelli gets to the middle and buries. Cornell up 2 early.
Cornell band's made the is that a Krispy Kreme hat that guy's wearing? Killing me with that drummer. Krispy Kreme is everywhere these days. Connor Busick, the band is happy. Big Red fans are happy. Up 2-0 here early, and that's a big deal because we talked about it already, Rhino. The goal differential between this team and their opponents in the first quarter versus the remaining 3 quarters is substantial all season long.
And we asked Connor Busick about that. Like, could you put your finger on it? He was like, no, I can't.
That coaches always say that when you ask them that, because if they could put their finger on it, they would have already done it and fixed it. And they haven't really been able to fix it all year. I mentioned they were down 4-0 to Ohio State on their own home field last week and in danger of getting blown out. Ignacio was winning every face-off, and suddenly they flipped the switch, got a weather delay, and came out, and it was all Cornell after that. Delaware still trying to get something going here offensively. Haven't really, even in the couple of possessions they've had, haven't had quality looks. Clay Miller looking to change that. Haven't even mentioned Mike Robinson, the Canadian who had that beautiful behind the back in the Georgetown game. I don't think he's even touched the ball yet. Now inside, Kurtz will score. Well, that was a good look. And Ben DeLuca's happy that his Blue Hens have finally broke the stalemate here to put a goal on the board.
And it's just a beautiful cut by Kurtz through the teeth of the defense. You're going to see as Miller pushes from behind, the double team comes, and Kurtz, instead of waiting on the backside for a potential ball reversal, he cuts right inside. Good identification of the lane and then find.
Kurtz part of that Canadian feel on this attack unit. Both he and Robinson from Ontario. Robinson went to Culver Military Academy. Just a pipeline of Canadian players into the college ranks. Katie George is on the field. What do you got here, Katie?
Yeah, Delaware coaches, guys, want the defense to crash hard on Piatelli. They also want to see 2 yards drop below GLE to get closer so they can help on Piatelli when he comes inside.
Yeah, good point. The focus obviously coming into the game is Curse, but Piatelli has burned him now for 2 goals early. Licciardi. Diminutive. Just a little jitterbug out there. The opposite now with Kelleher. He's that big downhill midfielder. Ball knocked away dangerously in front of the crease, though, still loose.
This is where Cornell thrives.
And they get possession back as it's Piatelli who's really making hay in that area right in front of the crease all day long.
And Wasson had a great trail check there, kind of a bailout check there on Long. Had he got that shot off, that was a quality look.
And the bad news for Delaware is that with the change of possession, it's a fresh 80 shot clock for Cornell. They won't use it all, though, as they force Kilcarry to make a save, and he makes a good one. Still in the danger area, though, another loose ball. And picked up by Piatelli. Well, that's what happens in the postseason, isn't it? You get a lot of ground balls, and who's going to win them, especially on your defensive end, to salvage possession?
And frankly, Delaware caught a bit of a break there. I mean, the coaching staff, that's exactly what they were worried out of this Cornell unit. Cornell offensively always seems to come up with 1 or 2 goals per game just based off of a kind of scrappy loose ball play. You mentioned that Licciardi kind of scoop pass from last week. Like, that happens every week for them.
Yeah. They manufacture offense and find ways to scrap for 2 or 3 goals, and right now they're up a goal here early. Linkaitis inverts again. Up top. Opting not to take the shot was Miller. Here's Robinson. Back to Miller. Robinson defended nicely back behind the cage.
Good defense there by Bardwell.
Found a cutter and a score! Pita had his head up, looking for the cutter, and he found it in the form of Clay Miller. That's his 27th on the year.
Miller just has a real knack for crease play, inside finishing, and cuts. You can see him cut right behind Follows, who was concerned with the perimeter. But as this ball works around Beta, you're gonna see Miller up top. He just flashes inside, presents a target, and the ball is in and out of his stick in a heartbeat. Good quick stick finish there by Miller.
Illegal procedure against Angelo Petrakis. First one of this half against Cornell. Possession to Delaware.
Watch Grant sneaking from
Here he
midfield.
is. Here he is. He'll shoot 2. Gets a look and a score! That gets the crowd clad in blue that have made the trip from Delaware fired up. His bench as well. Owen Grant's 7th goal of the year. Gives the Blue Hens their first lead of the day.
And this is off a really unique substitution pattern. So after the face-off violation, instead of sending an offensive midfielder, Grant streaks upfield from the defense, catches the ball with a full head of steam. A quick little one-on-one, which you don't really normally see out of a long ball. Like, let's go one-on-one here in transition, borderline transition, really 6-on-6. But that demonstrates the toolkit that Grant has at his disposal.
6'3", 215. I asked DeLuca, he comes from Ontario, whether he was a good hockey player growing up, and his answer was, oh, yes. At that size, I mean, what an athlete. He had a decision to make in high school. Was he going to pursue hockey or was he going to pursue lacrosse? And Coach DeLuca is happy he chose lacrosse, and he's got the Hens up a goal. Alex Holmes, that second midfield unit on the Field now for Cornell. Shot doesn't get through. And they'll stay with Cornell. 46 to shoot. Long now the switch. Got a shorty on him. Let's see if he'll want to attack from X. He will. Got a step. Loses his footing, and now he loses the ball. Wertheim comes out of there with it. Quickly in front. Kilcarry makes the save. 3 saves now for Matt Kilcarry. Delaware in all kinds of trouble trying to clear the ball, but they get it to an offensive player.
They got numbers here if they want.
Now we get a whistle on the field. They were offside. Maybe that's why they had numbers. Officials recognize it. Back to Cornell.
That last possession, Cornell, another second chance opportunity.
We get this illegal pick against Piatelli. So ball back to Delaware. A little furious action here in the final 2-3 minutes of this first quarter.
And you can see with all this pick play Cornell's doing, clearly trying to change those on-ball matchups for their dynamic attack, whether it was Long on a couple possessions and there Piatelli. Unfortunate for him, he was just moving and got called for the infraction.
All right, Beta, quickly. Delaware's looking to go quickly. Got a cutter and a score! Second time we've seen Clay Miller find the open area. And he beats Erlin. 4-2 Delaware.
Another great cut here by Miller. You're going to see as the ball moves down the field, freeze it right here, you're going to see Miller kind of find that open area as we went down the backside pipe.
Who was on his hip? Licciardi, offensive midfielder. He recognized that right away, you think?
Oh, for sure. And Miller played some attack this year for Delaware. You could see that inside presence. He's just such a savvy cutter.
Miller with a couple. 4 goals in a row now for Delaware. Gnarly ground ball in the middle of the field. Look at Gavin Adler battling for it. Comes out of there with it. Not the offensive threat that his counterpart Owen Grant is, so 77 will retreat back to the other half of the field, where he's a unanimous first-team All-American, and leave things up to his teammates here, in this case, second midfield unit for Cornell, Spencer Wertheim. 31 for Cornell, had a beautiful play in that Ohio State win last week. Coach Busick talked about his development. There you see it. How about that goal on the run? Last week it was a dish. This week Wertheim says, I'm going to finish it off.
Nothing fancy about this one. Just a strong dodge right down the alley. Low angle. Looks like he beat Kilcarry near pipe. So Kilcarry's got to hold pipe there. That's one that maybe he wishes he had back.
Another violation against Cornell. That's 2 in this first half. Another one, and they'll have to sit for 30 seconds. So that's something to keep an eye on. We're still in the first quarter here. In a tightly contested game with everything on the line for these two programs. We mentioned how long it's been, 2013 for Cornell since they've been to championship weekend. 2007 for Delaware in a year when they upset Virginia on their way to championship weekend. Rutgers and Princeton have already punched their tickets. Later on tonight, Virginia and Maryland will renew acquaintances. That's a spot for Lenkaitis right there. He's been operating behind the goal in an invert spot pretty much all game long for Delaware.
And just run the clock down a little bit here.
About a 6-second differential off shot clock and game clock. Linkaitis, Adler takes over. Now he gets rid of it. Final 5 to shoot. Erlin makes the stop. Can Cornell get something out of it? 5 seconds, gonna have to work quickly. Desperation in front. And the pass goes wanting. Horn sounds to end an entertaining first quarter here in Columbus. Coach DeLuca happy with what he's seen. His team got down 2-0 early, and then they stormed back to take the lead. Miller with a couple of goals for Delaware. It's 4-3 after 1.
Down to this, passes it off. Delaware takes the lead. J.P. Ward fires the Blue Hens in front. The Colonial champs are moving on to the quarterfinals.
What a performance by Delaware last week. Close, really throughout in that game, but you're watching that game against the second seed Georgetown Hoyas, and you think Georgetown's going to pull it out. Georgetown's going to find a way. And Delaware, to their credit, said, nope, they're not going to find a way. They're not going to pull it out. How about this goal by the faceoff man, Angelo Petrakis, though? Talk about a juice goal. If Owen Grant's goal on the other side was a juice goal, when your faceoff man buries it for his first goal of the year, that's going to get Cornell going.
Beat me to the punch, partner. First goal of the year. So if you're wondering why no one slid to Petrakis, that's why. You can see right down the teeth of the defense. No one picks him up.
And Petrakis will get a little bit of a break. You know he doesn't have to run that half field. So Silos will come in. Mark Silos will come in and take the draw. And he gets possession to Cornell.
And I think what's really important about that last goal is that's coming with 2 face-off violations.
No doubt about it.
Right, so you kind of reference that in the first quarter. Like, one would think that he'd be a little kind of slow.
Silos was quick off the whistle there to initially get possession, but then Delaware with a nice check to get it back. You know, just wrapping up that thought about Delaware and Georgetown. This is a Delaware team that lost 3 games in a row mid-season. In 2 in a row in conference play. They started 0-2 and losing 2 one-goal games. Then they won all 3 of their conference games after that. The first 2 by 1 goal. So everything for them was about close games in the middle of the season. And Coach DeLuca said even wins and losses in those close games got us prepared for the end of that Georgetown game.
They've been playing playoff lacrosse for over a month now.
No doubt. 0-2 in conference play, knowing they had to win the conference to get into this tournament. And they did just that. Nice job picking it off by Christopher Davis. A short stick D midi with the turnover. And back to Cornell. Let's see if the Big Red now offensively can build off that goal by Petrakis.
We talked a lot about Cornell's attack unit, but I love the balance in this first midfield group as well. You've got the water bug right here, Licciardi. Kelleher, big head of steam, and then Coyle is its shifty little lefty.
Look at Kelleher knocking the defender off its mark. That's exactly what he does. I mean, 6'3", 220-pound sophomore from out on Long Island in Wantagh. He just lowers the boom. Here he comes again. Skip pass and a beauty. Got to Coyle, but he lost his footing. Good defensive play by the Blue Hens.
They got numbers here in transition. Watch Grant.
Grant's in the middle, number 81.
Oh, he wanted it.
Yeah, he wanted it badly. Well, if you're a midfielder on this Cornell team, you better be looking for 81 stay on the defensive side of the field.
He causes the turnover on one end and then is able to push in transition. They didn't give it to him. You got to reward the defender there. You got to give it back to him.
Especially when he already has a goal on the day. He's feeling it. Instead, it'll be 6-on-6.
And through the sub game, they've got Licciardi trapped. I would expect him to attack that matchup.
Ward.
Definitely more favorable than this one.
Yeah, no question. 77 all over J.P. Ward. Not giving him an inch. Here's Licciardi, to your point. Offensive midfielder for Cornell, stuck on the field. Ward. On Adler.
Ward's got to keep that going.
Behind the Ward. Nothing doing for Kurtz. Looked like he tried to shoot it. Defender in the way. Now he gets a better angle. Stopped by Erlin. As the horn for the shot clock wound down. Nothing doing anyways.
That was really good help there by Follows. They tried to attack that short stick offensive matchup. Licciardi got trapped, as I mentioned. Follows supported with a slide, and it stayed on that double team. They recovered behind the play. Good identification there by Cornell defensively.
We saw Wertheim score a goal earlier in this game. Tried to get under the defender, can't. Now Long. Got his defender hung up, so he'll look for cutters. Look at all the action in front of the goal. Sheehan, that second midfield unit for Cornell. Busek will use that second midfield unit a lot. Has a lot of faith in them, a lot of trust. Holmes, part of that unit working now. He uses a pick, got free, but they're going to call that a moving pick. Big collision behind the goal, turnover to Delaware. 6th turnover of this first half against Cornell.
And second time they've been called for a moving pick by their attack unit. Piatelli in the first and then Long in the second. It looked like Long was somewhat stationary.
Yep.
We'd have to get another look at that.
Might have had a grab a little bit in there as well as a part of it that we couldn't see. Shielded from the play. Either way. Goes against the big red. Let's see that pick on the left side of the screen.
Maybe a lean.
Maybe a little bit. Chance here for Delaware. Robinson. Now Beta. Here's Ward. Finds a cutter. Kurtz. Turned away by Erlin. Stays with Delaware. Fresh 60 on the clock. Ward runs right into Davis. He's got to like this matchup, though, compared to Adler. Tried to stuff it inside. Nothing doing.
And that's a force there by Ward. Once that double team comes, pop away from pressure, identify your outlets and your skip lanes. There was nothing doing inside there.
It was a good ground ball by Bartolotto. Come out of traffic with it for Cornell. Successful on the clear. Both these teams in this game in general have done very well clearing the ball. Kilcarry goes up to make that stop. 4 stops on the day for Kilcarry. Remember, he had 9 last week in the first half against Georgetown, 14 for the game. One of the stars clearly for this Blue Hen squad.
I would have liked to see Licciardi maybe drop his hands a little bit, more of a sidearm release, try to increase your angle, shoot around Kilcarry.
Lawson with the punt return clear, setting things up for Miller. Already has a couple of goals on the day. Working on Jason Singer. Beta. Got it to Ward. Look at Adler closing that gap.
No need to double there.
Robinson. Nice move to get free. Skip pass. Can't get through. Adler picks up the ground ball. Good look, good opportunity, but just too much traffic in front of the net. Follows. Looking for a way across the midfield line. Finds it. Gets it into the stick of Wertheim. Halfway through this second quarter, all knotted up at 4 apiece. Winner goes to championship weekend next Saturday for the semifinals in East Hartford. Rutgers awaits the winner of this game. Wertheim trying to dance in front of the goal. Nice job defensively by Reed Kurtz. Now the slide comes. He forces it inside to CJ. Loose ball picked up by Delaware.
And it was Grant, again, that caused that havoc.
He was in a little bit of trouble there, but a nice job recognizing a player that's open. Those are fundies. Just knowing where you are and where you can find an open player clear across the field. And he draws a lot of attention, doesn't he? I mean, a close defenseman here on basically 10 yards from his own goal, drawing a double team. Second midfield unit on for the Blue Hens. Here's Accioni. Up top to Kavinsky. Got his hands free for a moment, but then the ball dislodged. Stays with the Hens. Got 30 seconds to shoot.
I thought Kavinsky could have pushed to his left towards the middle of the field, opted to come back into the play with his right hand.
Now the slide comes for Jessen. Back up top for Kavinsky. Got to the middle of the field, took the shot. Erlin, no problems. Six saves now for Chase Erlin.
And that was a decent look by Kavinsky. Didn't get a lot on it, but you just can't allow that rollback defensively. A slide was there, but Kavinsky was able to get his hands free. I'm sure he wishes he was able to get a little bit more power behind that one.
Had a flurry of goal scoring here late in the first quarter. Now these teams have settled in defensively. Cornell here content to run a little bit of this shot clock, settle in offensively, get players like Kirst going. No angle for Kirst as Grant shut it down. Now Licciardi. That's a great move to get free. So Carey went up to make the stop. 5 saves for the redshirt senior from Lake Sherwood, California. Kelleher. Slide's got to come to stop that freight train. Licciardi. The extra look to Coyle. He and Licciardi are similar type players. Coyle with the bounce shot, didn't get much on it, and that wasn't a threat.
Good help and recovery there by Shiver, number 33 in blue.
Long up top, finds a cutter, and it's a goal.
Some inside play here amongst this Cornell attack unit, and Kirst is on the board. Long directing traffic. Watch Kirst inside. He's going to come off a little pick by Piatelli, flash his hands, and finish.
Game of runs. Now Cornell's on a big run. Up a goal. River here in Columbus, Ohio. The shoe in the background. That's where we are for this quarterfinal matchup. First of 2 today. Delaware and Cornell. Cornell with the 1-goal lead. 4:25 left to go in the first half. Following this game, about a half hour after the final whistle, Maryland and Virginia right here on ESPNU. You see Princeton and Rutgers. They've already advanced. Katie George is on the field. What do you got, Katie?
Well, the Cornell coaches reminded their team, we told you this was going to be a dogfight. They also said not a single matchup on the field matters. Just step in and play team defense. Make sure you're communicating. Stop worrying about that certain matchup.
All right, good. That's interesting. Because certainly Adler is a matchup that, you know, you would think Adler's shutting down Ward, which he has done pretty well all day long. Huge scramble here picked up by Delaware. But Delaware's tried to take advantage of a couple of matchups that they've had, and to some extent they've had some success. Think about times when Licciardi was caught on the other side, and Christopher Davis, D-Midi, being switched off on one of those crafty attackmen. You've got a couple of guys in Kurtz and Robinson, Canadians. Very good in traffic. Here's Clay Miller, a couple of goals out of that midfield today.
You can see Adler shut Ward there at X, eliminating that transfer.
Picked off nicely by Cornell. That was Harrison Bardwell. Now will they look to go quickly?
They got a trailer.
Yeah, Piatelli actually had a pretty good look. Opted to pull it out, wait for the subs to take a hold.
They had number 5, Bazzi, trail the play. And off your screen, he's being shut off by Bida, an offensive midfielder trap. So right now we got 5-on-5 Lacrosse.
Long upfield. Forced out wide by Kurtz. Long trying to work on the short stick, D-Midi. Reed Kurtz, it's Ty's brother. Just nowhere to go with it. Help comes, forces him to get rid of it. Holmes. Back to Long behind the cage. He'll shoot. Kilcarry is there. 6 saves for Kilcarry.
And both teams defensively seeing a heavy dose of inverts and short sticks behind the cage. Really content to just go in front of the cage, get hung up, and then play 6-on-5 in front of the net.
Grant instrumental in that, clear for Delaware. Clock ticking inside 2 minutes. An entertaining first half for Lacrosse. Cornell with the 1-goal lead. They've scored 3 goals in a row in this game to retake the advantage. Now Davis follows Linkaitis behind the cage. Tough angle, too tough for Linkaitis. Up to Robinson. Now to Miller. On the side, the Ward on Adler. Look how low Adler gets, that leverage. Robinson will shoot. Too wide of the cage. "20 seconds to shoot for Delaware. Bida tried to get it behind the back. Wow! Miller. That is lightning quick hands. The timeout on the field by Cornell. Hey, NCAA men's lacrosse coverage, it continues next weekend. Semifinal action begins on Saturday, May 28th at noon Eastern on ESPN2. Visit NCAA.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. This time of year, late May, we are in the thick of it. There's pretty much every sport you can imagine right now going through their postseason championships right around the corner. Don't forget, halftime coming your way. We'll show you highlights of yesterday's 2 quarterfinal games back at Hempstead, and we'll preview Game 2 of our doubleheader today between Maryland and Virginia. So what are we thinking here? On the clock, just over a minute left to play.
Yeah, kind of a curious timeout by Cornell.
Go find the closest ball to where it went out of bounds and get that thing up quick. Yep. They throw it wide. Don't worry about that ball. Right where it went out of bounds. Pick one up, get it up the field.
Minute left.
Hey, intense focus for 5 seconds. Hey, also, we have another timeout. If you end up in trouble in the clear, get below the 30, and we'll take it. Here we go, boys.
So attention to detail with the one timeout left. I would expect Adler to pick up whoever picks up the ball off this restart, or to go zone. One of the two. They're basically just gonna kill the rest of this shot clock with only 5 seconds left. Not a lot of time for Delaware to generate a quality look.
And you were right about that. Adler on J.P. Ward at the start of this play with 5 seconds to shoot for Delaware. Ward looks for a cutter, just couldn't quite connect. And it ends up with Cornell.
And Delaware had their defensive personnel out on the field there. You could see all 3 players sprinting back, including the long pole, McCormick. So they're already set up defensively.
Cornell can hold for the final shot of this first half. Licciardi now over to Coyle.
And instead of using a timeout with that much time left in the half, they'd rather keep that in their back pocket because they were going to use this clock anyway.
Right. Just run it down. When do you start going, you think, here?
About 25.
Yeah, we're in that zone right
20,
now.
25.
Kirst had Grant on him initially. Now Grant stays with him. He's doubled. Somebody's got to be open. And it's going to be Coyle who shoots, and Kilcary's there. 6 seconds. Piatelli just lets one fly. Kilcary makes that stop, and he'll send it downfield looking for a little desperation and won't find it. So Delaware with a nice defensive stand there at the end of that first half, even though they've gone scoreless in over 17 minutes of game time in this first half. They missed their last 7 shots, but defensively they're hanging in there, Rhino, and down a goal.
Kind of what we expected coming into this.
Yeah.
Kind of a defensive slugfest. Both teams very similar, grinded out, hard-nosed mentality. You could see the impact that Adler had on Cornell's defense and Grant had on Delaware's defense.
No question about that. And Owen Grant with a goal as well in transition for Delaware. Gamer runs, two goals first for Cornell to take a 2-0 lead. Delaware struck back with 4 straight. It was 4-2 at that point, but then the last 3 scored by the Big Red as they will take this 1-goal lead into halftime. And right now, 1 half away if they can hang on, but it's going to be nail-biting time in the second half. 1 half away from punching their tickets to championship weekend. You can see right here what Cornell has done when leading at the half, and that's that tight defensive mindset. It's tough to come back against them. Katie George is standing by with Coach Busek.
Thanks, Chris. Coach, you told your team in one of the huddles that this was going to be a dogfight. What did you think of the first half?
It was just that. You know, we knew this team was going to come to play, and they've been scrapping. They've been winning some tough ground balls in the middle of the field. And for us, you know, we hope a couple of those shots fall, but we know we're in for a 60-minute fight. And, you know, so far proud of the guys' effort and need to carry that into the second half.
Delaware scored 4 in a row. What did you think of your defense's response to close out the half?
I thought they were great. You know, a lot of those were transition goals, and so we just weren't matching up correctly. We weren't getting in, and so kudos to them. They run the ball down the field well. They put you in difficult situations when you're trying to sub. So something we got to clean up going to the second half, but the defense certainly in half field sets to settle in and doing a great job.
Thank you for the time.
Thanks so much.
All right, thank you, Coach. Thank you, Katie. We're at the half here in the Shoe. Game 1 of our quarterfinal doubleheader. Cornell with a 5-4 lead over Delaware. Coming up here at the half, we're going to take a look back at the highlights from yesterday. Look forward to the second game today. Tight one here in Columbus. Big Red with the narrowest of margins. Back here at the Shoot, getting set for the second half. Good crowd here considering the Buckeyes weren't able to play their way in. They lost to Cornell last weekend, so it's Cornell and Delaware here in our first game, Maryland and Virginia in our second. Coach DeLuca, his team's right in it. Everything to play for in the second half, 5-4, the lead for Cornell. And Cornell got out to a good start, up 2-0 in this game.
Yeah, led by their attack unit and Piatelli all by himself on the doorstep. And then he takes matters into his own hands, one-on-one dodge to put the Big Red up 2. And then from there it was Delaware, a 4-0 run. And here's where you saw Grant in transition showing kind of his variety of skill sets. Goes dodges one-on-one there. Cornell answers with 3 straight. Cursed quiet first half, Connor.
Yeah,
It's really
well,
kind of
when you come off a 7-goal game, it's hard to be that loud in your follow-up, but his team has the lead. And JP Ward and company, they've got some work to do in terms of getting that lead back. Katie George is down in the field. Katie, you spoke to Coach DeLuca, didn't you?
Yeah, and he said the first half was as expected. This is a heavyweight fight that they knew would go back and forth and back and forth. He said offensively, he wants to see his guys play with more patience. He said Cornell was sliding early, and then they slowed things down a bit. He said, I want my guys to take what they're given, but we need to be patient offensively and take good shots.
Yeah, things really did slow down, Rhino, in that second quarter. You know, you think about it, it was a 4-3 game after one. And in that second quarter, just 2 Cornell goals to give them the lead. But offensively, things really kind of settled into that defensive struggle we thought we might see.
Yeah, you look at Delaware's goals, and we highlighted the Grant in transition. Where they've had the most success is Miller, moving off ball.
Right.
And the Kurtz kind of cut right through the middle of the defense. So need to see more off-ball action from Delaware. That's where they've had the most success in the first half.
Kilcarry had 8 saves in that first half. Chase Erlin with 6. 0 penalties in that first half, too, so a fairly clean game. Both teams, as we mentioned, had some success in the clearing game. Were very efficient there. You even had a goal in transition from Grant, so it's been a clean game and a fun game to watch, even though it might not be these, 18 to 16 scores that we're seeing a lot in college lacrosse these days. This is a fun game to watch.
The thing I'd be worried about if I was Delaware defensively is Cornell hasn't come up with that kind of scrappy, loose ball, ground ball that, boom, turns right into an opportunity. They came up with a few of those plays in the first half, but they didn't cash in immediately. Can Delaware eliminate that, or can Cornell finally get those 2 to 3 goals that they seem to get every game?
Also had a goal from Angelo Petrakis, their face-off man. Cornell did. So getting it from all different places, and Petrakis and Premtaj getting set to start us off here in the second half, and we're underway. Been a good battle to face-off dot. Initial possession as it was in the first half, in the second half to Petrakis and Cornell. He's got an open lane to the goal. He'll shoot. Couldn't get anything on it as we finally had a trail check and dislodged the ball away from him, but he was close to having another one.
Sometimes they're open for a reason.
I mean, he's a big-time goal scorer now. Had one in the first half, almost had one there, and had it dislodged and fell into the crease. He's not used to being right on the doorstep like that.
Delaware's going to be offside if they go.
That was the case. Couldn't go on the other side as he lost the ball, but it ends up being in the Delaware cross again, but they've got to get it across that midfield line. The officials ruled possession had gone to Cornell, so they got a fresh 80 when they were able to pick up possession, so that was a break for Delaware.
For sure.
Yeah. So Matt scramble in the middle of the field. The Blue Hens with possession. As we mentioned, going to break there at the half, they are in an offensive drought, over 17 minutes of game time without a goal. Can Robinson break it? Just deflected wide. It'll stay with Delaware. Lankaitis. Now over to Ward. Kurtz. Erlin makes the stop. Robinson gathers up the rebound. Kurtz was dumped. Slow to get up. Gets back to his feet. Here's Bita.
Doria's lucky he didn't get called for a penalty there.
Inside, Cutter, loose in front. Great chance for Delaware, but Erlin makes his 9th save of this game. That's something you see a lot with Cornell on the other side. Loose ball right in front, ends up in the cross of the offensive player, but Erlin was up to the task.
Yeah, maybe his best save of the day. That ball was intended for somebody else. Just trickled through.
Now 20 minutes scoreless for Delaware. Kelleher, I mean, he is just a freight train, shoots wide. I mean, he is not afraid to lower his shoulder.
Yeah, if he gets a little bit more towards the middle of the field, he'll have a better angle after that change of direction.
This could be a chance and a goal. Better than a chance. Licciardi lost his defender. Beats Kilcarry. The lead is now 2. Matching the largest lead for any team in this game. No one's led by more than 2 throughout.
And just a breakdown in communication here by Delaware defensively. You know, as we run this tape, you're going to see Licciardi come back behind the cage for a little big little 2-man action. As Long carries right to left, frees it right here. You're going to see these 2 Delaware defenders come on ball, and there's just no help on the backside. So as this pass is made across to Licciardi, just no rotation there by Delaware defensively, or a late one rather.
Licciardi, 5'7", 150 pounds. Easy for him to get lost amongst the trees, and he did on that play. Big ground ball on that faceoff by Joe Spears. Now here's Kurtz up top. He'll wait for the second midfield unit to come on board for Delaware. That's Kavinsky. Nick Jessen now coming on. The ball and a stick. Accioni now will get the offense started. Shoots. Just wide. Ward picks it up though. Here's Jessen. Kurtz. Man. Delaware's having a little bit of, not only are they in a scoreless drought, but they're also missing the cage. Ward tries to get underneath Adler, forget it. Kurtz makes the extra pass. Robinson bounces it high. Check that, that was Jessen.
Another one way off the mark there.
It's 15 to shoot. Ward can't lose Adler. With the left, Jessen. Erlin going down to make the stop. Stays with Delaware. He'll get a fresh 60. That's 10 saves for Chase Erlin. Delaware's missed their last 14 shots. Many of them not even close.
And that last one was a great save by Erlin. So at least they put that one on net. This possession feels like it's got some weight to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long possession too. So this Cornell defense, they've been on this side of the field now for an extended possession. Robinson. Adler, look at the stick in the zone. And he picks up the ground ball.
He does such a great job of either eliminating that outlet at X or timing up that show. In that case, he got his stick on the ball to create that turnover. But that's where his quickness and foot speed comes into play. You feel like you have that guy, and then boom, he takes it away.
Right. Wertheim, forced wide. Now behind a Long. Cornell looking to take their largest lead of the day if they can put one in here. Here's Holmes.
Delaware's got to keep this at 2 in kind of striking range.
Kirst on Grant. That's a good matchup on this side of the field. Piatelli. Now Grant chases him down. Final 10 seconds on the shot clock. Kirst is going to have to let it go. Got under his defender. That's a beautiful move. Oh my gosh, couldn't bury it. Piatelli hits it off a defender in front.
But because that first Kirst shot went on net, they've got a fresh 60, or a 58 rather.
So much like we just had on the last Delaware possession, this is an extended possession here for Cornell, and the Delaware defenders got to be gassed. Wertheim down the alley, defended beautifully. Comes back to the middle of the field, got his hands free and bounced it over the top. Really got a good look. Just couldn't get the shot to be placed where he wanted it to. 38 seconds to shoot for Cornell. Long. Shoots. Another bounce shot that doesn't get on cage. Piatelli coming upfield on Lynch. He rolls and scores. Hat trick for Piatelli. The lead is 3 for Big Red.
And almost a carbon copy of the goal he scored earlier in the first quarter. This time, Piatelli's gonna operate from behind the cage. He carries up, he's gonna go back underneath, so he refaces, goes underneath, rolls back to get his hands free. You just can't allow this rollback. You can see Lynch right there. Once he applies pressure, Piatelli uses that leverage to roll, and before Lynch can get his stick back in place, the shot's already gone.
60 goals on the year for John Piatelli. Trackus wins the faceoff easily to himself. This momentum that Cornell carried into the half, they've carried it through here into the third quarter.
This is a huge defensive possession for Delaware. It just feels like if this lead gets to a certain margin, they just don't have enough firepower offensively to come back.
Kelleher tried to force that into Coyle. He's able to get it to Licciardi. Now back to Kelleher.
We're gonna go right back at this matchup.
Piatelli working on Lynch. Goal line extended. He'll look to roll again. Tough angle, and he's going to be in the crease.
I thought Piatelli forced that a little bit. You still had north of 20 seconds left on the shot clock. They brought a pick over there. I don't think he needed it.
Right.
Just let him cook one-on-one.
That's a tough play right there and a mistake in the clearing game. We haven't seen many of them, but that's one that Delaware makes. Now, Cornell will look to move quickly. Got a pole on the field in Bartolotto on the offensive end. Piatelli got it to Bartolotto. He's like, I don't want this thing.
I wanted it earlier for the step down.
Right now, I don't need it. I'll just check out and let players like Matt Licciardi take over. Licciardi gets by his defender. Now to Long. Up to Coyle and Wertheim. Help comes, Grant, but Wertheim gets by him. Now we get a whistle.
They got withholding the ball. So as that double team came, they had Wertheim clamping his stick to his body as he split that double team.
Grant is just a physical presence on that punt return, isn't he? Delaware just has not been able to get anything going offensively.
Get two short sticks behind the cage here.
Lenkaitis on Davis. Now he comes upfield. Adler right there with the help. Pass goes in front of the cage. Stays with Delaware. Inside Kurtz, he scores! Hens take advantage of an unsettled situation to get one back.
And Kurtz just gets lost inside. Credit Delaware offensively for staying with the play, but on the loose ball, Ward picks it up, moves it behind the cage to Bita, and Kurtz all by himself buries it and ends the drought for the Blue Hens.
Ben DeLuca has his Blue Hens right back in it, now trailing by 2 goals here in the third quarter. He, of course, played his college lacrosse at Cornell, played in this NCAA tournament back in 1995, was
rocking
close.
the double pad.
No question.
You got to rock the double pad.
Bucket helmet. Look at those old Brine gloves, those L35s, right? He, of course, was captain in 1998 and played for the legendary Richie Moran. Said that man changed his life when he brought him to Ithaca. Head coach for Cornell. Had success as head coach, too. Took the team to a quarterfinal in 2013. Connor Busick was an All-American midfielder back on that team. Now the two of them facing off against each other here at the Shoe with a chance to play their way in the championship weekend. Delaware wins possession on that face-off. 10-5, Cornell with the advantage at the face-off dot in this game, and that's been getting more and more weighted towards that side. So Delaware with a nice job there to get possession.
And that was a huge ground ball. It just feels like Delaware needs to keep this within striking distance. I mentioned that kind of aforementioned Cornell possession. If they get to like 4 goals, Chris, it just feels like that might be too big of a lead. Now they've got a chance to cut it back to 1 right in striking distance.
Kurtz, he'll fire and score again. Every time one of these two teams scores, they turn it into a run. It's a modest 2-goal run right now for the Blue Hens, but they'll take that because now they're trailing by just a goal.
And more off-ball movement here. Lankaitis is going to carry behind the cage. And Kurtz just kind of gets lost. Frees it right here. His defender, Adler, he's going to go to help. So he's going to be help. Here's Kurtz right here. And just no one recovers. No one slides after this initial help by Adler. So you're going to see Adler go. And the Cornell defense is late. And you cannot be late to Kurtz.
Dom Doria was late coming out. Kurtz scores. Katie, what do you got?
Yeah, Delaware, guys, is a team that believes they are never out of a game. And Ty Kurtz's first goal just a couple of minutes ago came at a great time. There was almost a sigh of relief from Delaware's huddle. Now they're exuberant from that second goal there. So they love the spaghetti action that they're getting on offense. They continue to say simple plays, score.
And that spaghetti action that they're mentioning, it's the short sticks behind the cage. Watch out for Grant.
He wanted to pull the trigger, instead Kurtz does, and that time Erlin had to make the save, and he does. Kurtz is feeling it right now. Kurtz, head up. Long behind the cage. Cornell more than satisfied with subbing in and out. They'll slow things down a little bit for Coyle and company. Yeah, finish up what you were talking about.
Yeah, that spaghetti action is the short sticks carrying behind the cage with off-ball movement in front, most notably by their shooters. Kurtz in that cage. In that instance, they're obviously hoping Robinson to get him going too.
Shardy can't handle the pass from Kelleher. Kurtz is there though. Look at the athleticism from 15. Now he's got a shorty on him up top.
Yeah, I had Long on the crease.
He's going to want to take advantage here. Gets his left hand free. Now a better angle and misses. He's going to be kicking himself for missing the cage on that one.
Yeah, you could see his reaction looking up to the sky.
Long uses a pick to get free. Nothing doing. I thought almost had his own rebound. Couldn't pick it up though, and Delaware does.
And that's a huge ground ball by number 18 in blue, Fritz. Those are the scramble plays that this Cornell offense usually can pick the ball up, and the ball ends up in the back of the net before you knew what happened.
Just getting the ball across the midfield line at the 60-second mark. That time Wasson avoided the clearing violation, and it stays with the Blue Hens.
Connor Busick did not think they got across.
He did not. He knocked over the orange cone down there by the box and showing his displeasure for the non-call. Didn't get it. In front, Kurtz almost had an opportunity for another one. Now Miller. couldn't keep possession as the trees were just too much. Now Erlin got it. Couldn't find Follows. Now he does. Follows. Will he pull the trigger? No, gets it instead to a shorty, and it ends up being on the carpet. Mad scramble for it. Gonna get a loose ball push. It's gonna go against Delaware. A lot of Delaware fans here. You can hear them displaying their displeasure with that call.
The Blue Hens travel.
They do.
It's a proud program, rich with tradition.
Holmes now behind the cage. Gets it back to his right. Now to Long. Up top to Wertheim. Nowhere to go for Wertheim. Lynch all over him. Now Long. Over to Kurse. Still 35 seconds on the shot clock. Plenty of time. Kurse got free with his right. Kilcarry stops him. 11 saves for Kilcarry.
And that's like the second or third time this quarter a Delaware defender has gone for kind of an over-the-head check and missed.
Yeah.
And Cornell just hasn't been able to capitalize. In that instance, it was Kurse.
Nice outlet pass from Kilcarry to Reed Kurtz. Making the clear effective. And now once again, it's Drew Linkaitis on Davis behind the cage. Had a shot. Instead, it's Robinson, just too high.
I think that Erlin got a piece of that one.
Yeah.
So they'll get a fresh 60.
Which they do.
Let's see how they play this. There's just a hair above a minute left.
Wow, very high, and lucky that call wasn't against Bartolotto. About a 7-8 second differential in shot clock and game clock. Robinson is just going to work that clock down. Kyle Smith is out on him, way out. Now Robinson will look to move. Nobody open. Here's a cutter, too high. It's Miller again. Battle for the sideline is won by Delaware. 20 seconds.
If they'd gotten that to Miller a hair earlier.
Beta up front. Kurtz can step down and shoot and score!
And it's Kurtz again from the outside. You're going to see, again, a help with no recovery behind it. So here's Kurtz right here. His defender is going to go and kind of help on ball as this dodge occurs. It's just an easy pitch and catch from there. So I don't know if necessarily you needed to help here. Follows elects to go. Kurtz from distance. And Delaware has fought all the way back.
3 in a row for the Blue Hens. Now final 12.6 in this third quarter. As we are knotted once again for the third time today. Loose ball tracked down by Cornell. One final chance, 2 seconds left. Tried a desperation pass to Long in front of the net. Couldn't make it work. And the horn sounds to end the third quarter. Partner, we're set for a good final stanza here in game number 1 of our doubleheader in the quarterfinals. All knotted up at 7 apiece. Delaware and Cornell. Winner advances to next Saturday's national semifinal in East Hartford. Cornell extended their lead early in that third quarter. Delaware wouldn't go anywhere. They scored 3 straight. Kurtz leading the way. We're all knotted heading to the fourth. forward to the PLL starting the weekend after championship weekend. So a couple of weeks from now, we keep cranking up in Albany and just had the drafts last week before this last week. Those Maryland players we're going to see.
A lot of Terps.
A lot of Terps on there, including Matt Moore, too. We'll see him in our nightcap, if you will. Be about 2:30 this afternoon, about a half hour after this game. See all those Terps and Virginia Cavaliers as they'll look to punch their ticket, one of those two teams, to championship weekend. One of these two teams right here will also make reservations for East Hartford, and it could be either one of them as we are all tied up heading to the fourth quarter. Face-off domination continues for Petrakis. Now 12-6 in that regard. Game of runs continues. 3-goal run for the Blue Hens entering this fourth quarter. Kelleher. Coyle. Good move, but Grant was right there to stifle it. Kirst got free and scores. How do you leave 15 that wide open? No, they're going to call it off. They'll call off the goal. As we may have had a moving pick on that one in front of him. We'll take a look. I didn't get the call from the official. I think that's what it is. It took place in front of him.
There was a screen in front of the cage, and that's what they called.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Break for Delaware. Can they take advantage? No, shot that Chase Erland saw all the way. I don't know if that early on in the shot clock, if that's the shot you want to take, as Erland had no problem with that one. There you see the saves, both these goaltenders doing yeoman's work today. Only made a couple of fantastic saves, but they've been solid and steady as they've needed to be in this game that's nip and tuck all the way. Now Coyle, just awaiting Adler to make his way back to the defensive side. That's his home. Long. Over here to Piatelli.
And that's the matchup as I look the rest of this fourth quarter is Piatelli on Lynch.
241s. Beautiful job dislodging the ball from Kirst. Grant, and then another beautiful pass, too, to get this clear going. Delaware can strike quickly here. Got a trailer. That's him. Shoots off of a defender. I don't know whether that got Coyle or not, but that couldn't have felt very good.
I think Coyle ate that.
Oh. And we're going to get a timeout here as Delaware retained possession. Cornell's going to call it, rather. End-to-end action here at the start of the fourth quarter. Delaware and Cornell all tied at 7. Winner advances to East Hartford. (7-7) here in the fourth quarter. What happened on that last disallowed goal by Kirst?
Yeah, they called a moving pick on Licciardi. You be the judge. I saw him as kind of making contact with his own guy. You see Kirst kind of re-attack towards his right. I mean, Licciardi's moving, but he's
could it have been that right elbow
into his own guy.
What you didn't see there, he might have gotten that right elbow up and a little bit of a nudge on the defender. That's the only thing I could think of looking at that replay.
That's a no-call play on. Just let him play. I didn't see it.
Didn't go Cornell's way. Can the Blue Hens take advantage? Beta with a head up looking for cutters. A lot of traffic in front of the net. Ward cut, couldn't get open. Now it's Miller's turn. Nothing doing. Now Miller out here on the wing. Back to his right, he'll shoot, just missing. (20 seconds to shoot. Haven't got a piece of Erlen. You can hear that thud. So 60 seconds to shoot.
Good job by Erlen holding that pipe, staying big to get a piece of that.
He's made 14 saves today. Tough angle, nothing doing for Beta. Race to the ball, won by Delaware.
If Robinson drifts a little bit towards the middle of the field, I feel like he would have been open.
Linkaitis had to step on his defender. Skip pass, try to get it to Kurtz on the opposite doorstep. Kurtz gives chase, gets pushed in the back, and that'll be a loose ball push back to Delaware. So this is an extended possession here offensively for Delaware. Some tired legs out there in red shorts. Beta. Working on the short stick to Emiti. Tried to question mark, didn't have a good shot. Ball deflected out, picked up by Dorian. Now we're gonna get a flag. We're gonna get a push with possession here. That's our first flag of the day.
And just a mistake compound another mistake there. There's a force into the crease. Easy one for the officials. Linkaitis drills Doria right in the back.
That's just losing your composure right there.
Kind of a double whammy, the force into the crease, and then a push with possession.
Coach DeLuca with a word or two of encouragement for Linkaitis. Now the 22nd best man up unit in the country. Cornell with an opportunity here, man up for 30 seconds. Here's Piatelli, already got 4 goals on the day. He'll try another one here. Nope, ball dislodged. Grant. Kelleher can't pick it up. Kurtz has it. Where does he go with it? Trying to clear it himself, can't. This is a very dangerous situation. Shoot and score for Long.
This is the goal we've been waiting all game for from the Big Red. Delaware does their job, their man-down unit, and as they clear it, Kurtz just kind of runs himself into some trouble here. You can see the hustle from behind the play by Coyle. Long, ton of confidence there, because if he misses that, there's no backup. So in transition with confidence, he buries it.
Long with a goal and 2 helpers on the day. Cornell back on top. Petrakis continues his dominance at the faceoff X. It's been a big story in this game. And it's a game that promises to be close all the way to the very end. Petrakis has won 13 of 19 draws.
And this is exactly what we thought we were getting coming into this.
Kelleher.
Oh boy.
He just runs over the defender, switches to his left and shoots too high. I want to know, I got to look into Kelleher's football past. He went to General Douglas MacArthur High School from Wantagh out on Long Island. Jones Beach is right there. I want to see what type of a football player he was.
Well, he's got that kind of prototypical downhill dodger midfielder like a Max Siebold or a Connor Busick, kind of in that mold.
He just refuses to be denied. Licciardi up top. Coyle, he spins, shoots. Right off the pipe. Looked like it got a piece of Kilcarry and the pipe that time.
And Coyle, you know he wants to come back to his left. So you just got to sit on that hip defensively as he goes underneath with his right hand.
Fresh 60 for Cornell, so Delaware on this defensive end for a while. Coyle Going to use that quickness. Keller couldn't handle the pass.
He was thinking about the shot before he caught the ball.
Piatelli comes out of there with it, though. Long, head up. A nice job defensively by Delaware, because that was dangerous as well. 20 seconds to shoot for the Big Red. Here's Coyle again. Drops it. Picked up by Shiver. Then Shiver gets it knocked away beautifully by Kirst. And now a fresh 80 for Cornell.
Just a huge ride there by Cornell to retain possession or gain it back.
Now Wertheim on the field for Cornell, joined by Alex Holmes. Long. Kilcarry makes the stop. And we'll get a loose ball push, goes to Delaware.
No, they're going to have, I think, withholding the ball there.
Oh, yeah, another one of those.
Yeah. On that loose ball, Piatelli kind of fell on top of it, kind of clamped the ball. And I think that's what the official called. Delaware's offside.
Yeah, they are. And boy, Busick, I don't think he's run that fast since his playing days, which, by the way, was only a couple of years ago, retiring from the PLL.
But that's two critical mistakes there by Delaware on back-to-back clears.
I was just about to say they survived that long defensive possession, but now with their 13th turnover of the game, it extends. I mean, the ball has been on this half of the field now for several minutes, it feels. Holmes, now behind the cage to Long. Up top to Sheehan. Wertheim. Shoots, scores!
This goal just seemed like inevitable. When you give an opponent that many opportunities and you ask that much of your defense, it's really only a matter of time. Credit the Blue Hens for kind of digging in until this point. But on the ball reversal, you're going to see Wertheim kind of left to right, little hesitation there. Against just an absolutely gassed Delaware defense.
Wertheim's second of the day. Katie, what's going on?
Well, at the start of the fourth quarter, Connor Busick told his team, late X's and O's are hard, but you will remember these last 15 minutes for the rest of your life. And he challenged them to dominate these last 15 minutes, and they've done so to start this fourth quarter, guys.
And now a 2-goal advantage. The runs continue in this game. There's a 3-goal run for Delaware to get right back into it and knock things up. And Cornell scored 2 straight in this fourth quarter to reestablish that 2-goal advantage. Princeton and Rutgers have already advanced. Today, 2 more teams will punch their tickets, one of them at the conclusion of this game, and then either Maryland or Virginia as you see the bracket. What a year it's been for the Ivies. 6 teams in this tournament. If Cornell can hang on here in the final 6 minutes and 49, they'll send 2 to championship weekend in East Hartford next Saturday. Big Ten will look to do the same this afternoon with Rutgers already going and Maryland looking to join them. Gut check time for Delaware. Down 2 midway through this fourth quarter. Premtaj, he's got a battle here. Big loose ball. Cornell comes up with it, follows. Very good off the ground. Now Bartolotto. Gets it to Kirst. Rhino made the point moments ago that a 2-goal advantage in this game seems a lot more than you might have in other matchups, and that's what Kelleher and company have. Hugh Kelleher shoots just wide.
Delaware was in a similar position against Georgetown a week ago, so certainly far from over.
Grant on Kirst. Here's Keller. Piatelli. Nope, nowhere to go. Now the help comes. Coyle, he's open, he scores! Matching the largest lead of the day for Cornell at 3 goals.
And potential dagger here. And you can see the defensive counter. Okay, we've got to help on Piatelli. He's already beat us several times. So you see the double team comes. Piatelli, a beautiful skip pass, and Coyle wisely hitches and then gets to the middle of the field to increase his angle. But this is all about Piatelli, those 2 early goals. Okay, well, we've got to support there. Piatelli showing his versatility, turns into a feeder, and Coyle finishes it off.
Petrakis, he's won 4 in a row, make it 5. Possession battle has really favored Cornell here in the second half, and it's starting to show on these defenders for Delaware.
And you don't want to totally put on the brakes here, but I would say you could squeeze the ball a little bit.
81 wants to say something about that.
Yeah.
But it gets to Kelleher again. Here he is. Coyle over to Licciardi.
This is a must-stop possession for Delaware.
Still all kinds of time on that shot clock, and Big Red is in no hurry. Coyle will just wait this one out. 25 seconds. Now he'll go. Licciardi. He's got room if he wants to take a shot and instead try to get it to Piatelli, and it's picked off. And you can see with Jason Sider, just the amount of time he's been on the field, 23, as he gets off the field and looks for the oxygen tanks. His defense has been on the field for a long time here in this second half, and especially in this fourth quarter. Now Lenkaitis.
You got to go here. You got to have some pace.
Trying to roll back. Adler comes with the help. Robinson with a nice catch. Gets to the middle of the field. Shoots. Nothing doing. Erlin just too good.
And if you're Delaware, do you now go into a pressure ride? I would expect to see a 10-man. Kilcary's out of the net. You got to go into pressure mode here.
Wertheim gets it into the restraining area, and they just hang on to it. Piatelli. Holmes and Sheehan, part of this second midfield unit. We talked about it already. Coach Busick has a lot of faith in this group on the field right now in the final 3 minutes of the game. Long, head up, gets it to Wertheim. The lead is 3 with under 3 to play. "20 seconds now to shoot. Kirst comes upfield, thought about taking the shot, instead gets it around the outside. Sheehan, inside to Long, got hammered. Flag comes out, takes a shot, misses, but let's get the number. Connor Busick's way out on the field, wants to hit to the head in full time. That's what he's calling for. Let's get the call. Cross check is the call. I think the initial hit was fine, but then the extension of the arms at the end.
There might have been some helmet to helmet. That's what Busick saw.
That's why he wanted the full time, didn't get it. Either way, we're at 2.5 minutes left to go. A 1-minute call here, it's tough.
Yeah, so
It's tough to overcome.
If you're Cornell, you're basically spacing the field. And if you're Delaware, you've got to come out of the net here, even down a man. You got to pull the goalie, get that extra defender. I actually wouldn't be surprised if they put the goalie on their offensive half of the field to get an extra, in this case, short stick.
Both coaches in their huddle strategizing. Want to remind you, NCAA men's lacrosse coverage, it continues next weekend for the semifinals. It all begins Saturday, May 28th at noon on ESPN2. Visit NCAA.com. It's your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Maryland and Virginia coming up next here. Talk about spring sports championships. Maryland and Virginia both have outstanding baseball teams as their conference tournaments are about to get started. Then we'll have regionals, super regionals, College World Series in June. Looking forward to that. Among, as we just said, 90 NCAA championships across all men's and women's sports.
10, 20 seconds. At 15, we're going to start the pull and get our defense personnel. We're still going to be man up. Then we can step in and fucking go score one. Hey, finish it right here. Use all 60, right, run around. Again, remember, as we're in this issue here, Siege, if you run the issues, I've got another timeout. Yeah, all right. Hey, let's finish this, man. Let's go. Let's go, boys. Together on this. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that's great. Connor Busek. Let's finish this, man. And he also said, let's run around and use this 60 seconds.
Yeah, so they're going to go to an open set. Nobody on the crease, so everybody on the perimeter. So they want to use the full minute here, maybe to the last 10 seconds or so. He said, CJ, go run around for a bit. So you know where the ball's going to end up, or where he'd like the ball to be. And they've still got that one timeout in their back pocket.
Isn't it great to have great athletes? CJ, just run around for a bit. I mean, this is what you do.
So Kilcary's in the net. I would expect him to come out almost immediately. It's just a matter of when. I'm a little surprised that Grant isn't on ball, but maybe they're waiting for his man to get it before they go out and pressure. There you see this switcheroo. Yeah, let's put Grant on ball.
Coyle up to Licciardi, all the way across the field.
See, if you're going to do this, you got to pull Kilcary out. Kilcary's still kind of lingering around the crease.
Kelleher.
Just dare Cornell to shoot it.
And now Kelleher will just hang out at about the 38-yard line. Licciardi over here to Coyle. Coyle behind the cage. Under 2 to play.
So at this point, you might as well just go to the net.
That's what Long attempted to do. 10 to shoot for Cornell. Now the pressure. Oh, just too high. Piatelli thought he had another one in the bag. And now Grant gets called for a push. Late whistle against Delaware. And the man you thought least likely to lose his head is Owen Grant. And he's going to get a call to go against him. Right in front of the official.
Yeah, you can see.
Well, he didn't like the fact that Kilcary got run, and then he let him have it.
Piatelli's pretty tough. That was maybe a little help of the official there in terms of the.
I think
I would call it a flop, but it was a little acting.
But I think what DeLuke is complaining about right here is his contact with his goalie. Well, now we're back at it again with 15. Run around with it for a little while. Kill off that clock. Still 30 seconds to shoot as we count down to 1 minute remaining in this game.
You can see the shot from distance. Kilcarry had the backup.
Yep, and they give possession to Delaware. Under a minute. Got to move lightning speed. Beat has got to go. Inside, that could be a goal, and it is! Kurtz keeps hope alive for Delaware at the 39-second mark. And you see Erlin, the senior experienced goaltender,
said, what are we doing?
Everybody just chill.
We're the ones that have a lead. Why are we pressing out in transition? Why are we flying upfield? Just get in and play defense. I've seen crazier things happen,
No, I
Connor.
know. And it would be crazy given the fact that Petrakis has just owned this face-off X.
And they're still man down.
And there's still a man down. Fremtaj, if he ever had one in him, this would be it. Got to win this draw. Petrakis wins it to himself. Gets rid of it, though, in the middle of the field. This is a dangerous situation, picked up by the Blue Hens.
That was as the penalty expired, so he came right from the box.
Sider to Ward. Quickly to Kurtz, loses it initially and got a shot off. Possession to Cornell. Wow, furious action inside the final minute here. Kurtz had a look.
And Delaware's going to call timeout. To set up a 10-man ride. You knew this team was going to fight right to the end.
Right to the end. A man down 3 goals. Kurtz gets a goal. They pick up a ground ball in the middle of the field. Kurtz gets another look at it. Couldn't get it on cage, and just too out of sorts to win the back of Cornell with that hustle play. Let's listen in.
Hey, let's have teammates on defense, right? 3 of them, and or 2 of them. Let's just go. That's all we can do. Let's go. We're attacking 2 balls at the midfield, one. 44 and 81. Yeah. 44 and 81. 44 and 81 at the midfield, and then Jason.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
And then
Put 3 goals up there. See what cost me?
we want 4 goals. Owen, 81, 44, right, 23. 2 goals and 1 midfielder.
Mark there, I'll go defense.
Fine. All right, good. And we're in captain. Understood? You're in captain. Fucking go. Make a play.
Let's go, make a play.
All right, here we go. Hey, keep fighting. Fight on 3. 1, 2, 3. Fight.
So there's 10-man rides, and then there's 10-man rides where you have pulls in the place of the attack. So that's what they were talking through, that personnel.
Yep.
Given time, score, it's like, well, forget having a tackman pull off this 10-man ride. Let's just put our poles on ball and down on that half the field and put short sticks back on our defensive half.
And with just 19.4 left to go, you gotta get that ball. And Adler, the defenseman, is gonna put this ball in play.
They might just heave it.
He looks like he wants to heave it. And that's what he does, as high as he can. Almost as high as we are here at the shoe. Ball falls harmlessly down. Possession to Delaware. Final 10 seconds. Got to get one right away. Ward, he'll shoot. No, that's Robinson shoots, and it's high. Possession to Cornell again. Now just 2.7. Adler will let it fly, and that'll burn the remainder of this clock. The Big Red heading to championship weekend for the first time since 2013. Head coach Connor Busick helped guide the Big Red there as a player, as an All-American midfielder. Now as a coach, he brings Cornell back to championship weekend. And it'll be an opportunity for us to see the Curse brothers face against each other. Connor in goal for Rutgers, CJ at attack for Cornell. Katie standing by with Connor Busick.
Coach, your team is going back to championship weekend for the first time since 2013. You're laughing a little bit. How does it feel?
Incredible. I got chills right now. This group is so resilient, so tough. They fight through everything. You know, we played high-scoring games, low-scoring games, and everywhere in between, and these guys don't give up. Our leadership's incredible, and I'm just so proud of this group after the time off to come back to work so hard for year in and year out to get back to this moment. Just so excited and so happy for them.
Speaking of resiliency, Delaware scored 3 straight to tie it at 7. What did you think of the composure and resiliency your team showed in that moment to fight their way back?
They've showed it all year. They show it week in and week out. You know, we haven't started that well all season, and so it's nothing new to us, unfortunately, to give up runs and to keep faith. But so proud of this group, so proud of the way they fought, and our senior leadership is truly, responsible for all this success.
Your attackmen steal the headlines a lot of times, and rightfully so. What did you think of the job Petrakis did at the X?
Oh, he was fantastic. Dialed in. Big moment, big atmosphere, and he was dialed in from start to finish. Really proud of the strides he's taken this year and just his ability to continue to contribute and do different things for us at the X and picking up ground balls away from it.
What excites you most for this group getting to go to Connecticut next week?
Lots of things. I think just another week together. We're excited to keep practicing, to know that we've got one more week to enjoy time together on the Shulkoff field at home and an opportunity to go win a national championship.
Congratulations. Enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Coach. Obviously excited and got a big game from that young man right there. Let's check out today's player of the game. It's brought to you by Capital One as John Piatelli got him going with 2 quick goals. You know, we talk about the slow start that Cornell has had historically this season. And it was 2-0 before you could blink an eye, and Piatelli was a big reason for that.
Yeah, he got him going and really owned his matchup today. So you see this first one on the inside. But then from there on out, it was kind of a one-on-one, mano-a-mano against Lynch. Here he buries this one, kind of a carbon copy. And then later in the game, they double-teamed and helped, and that's where he skipped past through the coil. That was the 10th goal. That really seemed to be the one that kind of created a lead that was insurmountable. A lot of performances today. Erlin was fantastic at cage. You know somewhere Richie Moran is smiling down from above.
Yeah, good point. The legendary Cornell head coach passed away earlier this year. Now from above gets to see Cornell make yet another trip to championship weekend. They'll face Rutgers on Saturday in East Hartford. Princeton's opponent still to be determined. We'll figure that out in a few minutes. Our final score 10-8. Cornell with the win over Delaware. For Ryan Boyle, Katie George, and our entire production crew, I'm Chris Cotter. Cornell's moving on. Who will join them? We'll find out in 30 minutes with Virginia and Maryland.